So early on in the year for the channel, I set myself 5 trading challenges. Most involved the small account setup, because that's one of the hardest things to turn into any sort of profit and run successfully. And this video is all about one of those, and it involves crypto trading bots. Now, there's a big growing market for automated trading, especially in cryptocurrency world. Now, normally I program these out, run them independently, but I wanted to test specifically whether these do what they say on the tin. You can use them practically, efficiently, and make some money out of them. That's the important part of the whole thing. Now, getting into the detail of this video, I'm going to show you how I took $1,000, ran it over the month of March, and showed you what I achieved financially at the end of that period, and also going to dig into how I set everything up, my strategy, how I picked markets to trade, and I'll give you the detail into how and what I actually used in terms of the crypto bots and the trading exchanges. So a lot to get through. Interesting month it was for me running such a strategy, and the results I think were pretty good. So with that, let's take a look what I achieved. So first up, you probably want to know what tools, equipment I used to create this challenge and run it. Well, I used an exchange, and that was Binance. Lots of assets there, probably the biggest, most successful platform out there at the moment. And secondly, the software, the crypto bot software, I used a company called 3 Commas. I did look at some others, but I've used 3 Commas, and I'm going to put a link to both those, Binance and 3 Commas, in the description below. Now, if you follow that 3 Commas link, at the moment they're doing a 10% discount on your first monthly subscription, and maybe worth having a look at if you want to, like I say, copy, replicate, follow what I'm doing in this challenge. So Binance, 3 Commas, they were the 2 tools that I used to, like I say, execute the strategy. And what else did I use? Well, I used some websites that we will look at in a moment that gave me clues to the assets that I wanted to trade. I've kept this as simple as possible, as if anybody could do it. Kept costs to a minimum, tried to make it practical for a small account. So with that, let's see what I actually made over that month in terms of hard dollar. So you join me inside the 3 Commas platform, where I set up the strategy that I executed over the month of March. Now, my first confession is I actually used £1,000, not $1,000, so that equated to about $1,325 to use for that month. Now, what did I make? Well, I made just over 27%, and that was nearly $360 profit, and that, which I really liked, was with the minimal of effort, and that's the whole purpose of a trading bot, is not getting involved too much. Now, that ran 24/7. I think I executed something like 3,500 trades over that period, so almost physically impossible for a human to do, and it was just churning small amounts over time. And I said we'll dig into that strategy and how I did that in a bit, but just to prove that I'm not making up those numbers, we can dig into the history on the 3 Commas platform, and I will show you those now. So I set the date range for that March period, and you can see there actually I completed nearly 4,000 trades, 3,868 trades for a profit of $358.91. And how does that look in terms of like daily distributions and daily returns? Well, you can also pull back further statistics, which I will show you now. So here's some graphical overlay for you. On the left is the daily summary profit cumulative P&L line, and you can actually see I didn't really start until the middle of the first week of March, and then really that is a lovely P&L line no big drawdowns, very smooth, and a daily distribution of P&Ls is in the middle, no negative days, and you can actually see, worst day maybe 50 cents, maybe something like that, best day just under $40, and that, like I said, added up to that near $360 return. And what assets did I trade? Well, they're there on the right, and you can see actually I traded quite a lot of markets in that time, and they all contributed pretty much, and they range between profit about $38 down to just a couple of dollars. So that's some graphical overlay for you for the period of March. And I suppose a big takeaway is that smooth P&L line, because that could be scaled up if you've got a bigger account, and it just shows you, if you can work this over a long period of time, a year, 2 years, then that could turn into a significant sized portfolio for you. So let's first of all talk about how I set up the challenge. Now, it all starts within 3 commas, and you've got to get the right subscription first of all. Now, I'm on the Pro plan, but you wouldn't have needed that, I believe, to have run the challenge. And if you click on their subscription button, you can see the different plans there. I think you could probably do this with the advanced one. It's going to cost you $24.50, but I can say the $49.50 Pro subscription is really worth it, because it gives you a lot of options of what you can do and set up. And if you factor that into my cost, you take the $49.50 from the $358.91, still left with over $300 profit for the month. So you've got your account set up, and like I said, links will be in the description below if you want to follow me. And then what you need to do is link to your exchange. Now, you need to set up an API key for the access, and you would go up to My Exchanges. You would find your exchange. Now, different software, Autobot software, allows you access to different types of exchanges. Now, Free Commerce does have a good list, as you can see there. There are some other good bots out there that have an extensive list as well. So if yours is one of those, then you click on whatever one it was. Mine was Binance, and it's going to ask you for an API key, an API secret key. Very easy to get, don't stress about this. Go to Binance if Binance is your exchange. Go to your dashboard, go down to the API key management area. That is where you will pull off those 2 essential bits of detail, and you copy and paste those back into here. You hit the connect button, and you will see the details of your account following through into the Free Commerce platform. So essentially, you don't really need to go back into Binance if you were just running these bots by themselves. You can manage it all from here. But once you've done that, and that's the first stage, then you can start creating the strategies and the trading bots. So let's have a look at how I went about that. So the strategy, where do you start? Where do you start on one of these sort of setups? Well, it's really to first of all come up with a mental model, the idea of what you want to try and achieve, before getting into all the nitty-gritty of setting up the algorithms and the strategies, the technical side of it. And I wanted a strategy that bought the dip in different time frames. Something pretty simple. The market became oversold, and those assets were going to then go back up, and I needed a method of selecting those assets, which we will look into shortly as well. But you can see in front of you now, this is what the actual end product looks like, and excuse the names of the different sub strategies that I created, but they're all in different time frames. And you notice you've got 15 minute, 3 minute, 30 minute. That was one group of strategy, and then we had these other 4 below, which was another group, and they each I suppose the assets that went into them were picked from a different source. That's why I separated them. I wanted to just compare the results to see what came out from the 2 different methodologies of finding the assets. Now, you can see in 3 commas, these are the basic setups along the side, telling you how much you're risking per trade, and various inputs and whatever. But the brilliant thing with 3 commas is it allows so many different styles of trading bot to be set up. You've got hodl bots, grid bots, options bots, but I use something called DCA bot, and it was really a modified version of that allow me to create, like I say, these 7 sub strategies. So now let's just dig in and I'll show you example of how I set up one of those. So let's look into the Wise Owl sub strategy. It was one of the more successful over the month. So we click on there, we can then see that's how the setup was. That's what it did over the month. Actually made nearly $100. You see the most successful asset was that one, up, well, sorry, the most successful day in this one was up $15. The most successful asset was ZEC, making only $7, but you can see altogether it was working quite nicely across assets. At the end of the challenge, these were the assets left in there. Now I've been rebalancing these every week, so my only input into this strategy was once a week visit, which took me maybe 10-15 minutes just to rebalance to get the optimal assets in there. Now these are all the rule conditions of the strategy, and it's a long strategy, and in this 3-minute RSI setup, I was just looking for a really small percentage gain. It moves 0.6%, it closes out the trade. So you can imagine in the world of cryptos with such big volatility, 0.6% move isn't that much. So it really is a scalping type strategy. I had no further DCA buy-in positions. It was just a raw one-off position. Some might say that's risky, but actually it worked perfectly fine. Now another important point, once that 0.6% was hit, I had a trailing deviation of 0.2% behind that target. So if it got hit, it didn't close the trade out immediately, it just followed it up until it reverted back through that 0.2%. And you can see here base order size in this strategy was $70. Now it didn't start at $70, it started at about $40, and I compounded it up as the strategies grew and got more successful. In that week I came to change the assets. I also changed the trade sizes to represent the growth in the portfolio, so that helped that $380 grow, sorry, $360 return grow a bit faster. So if you were trying to set this one up yourself, you would just go up and you'd hit the new bot, and you would get something that looked a bit like this. You give it a name, you can see it's linked to Binance, and these are the assets. Quite easy to add an asset. You just click on the box and then you just click one in, adds it in. This allows me to trade up to 9 of those at any one time. There's that trade size we're talking about. This is the deal start conditions. This is the preset stuff that 3 commas allow you to use. It's all in there, very easy to set up. Like I say, it's just one click. There's the profit targets, the trailing stops that you can use, and then if you wanted to get into the world of DCA, then you can add in safety orders, from different price standard deviations, that sort of thing. As you can see, I've got 0 and 0, so I didn't have any of those. And then you literally hit save, and then you run it, and that's it. So then I pieced together, if we go back to that main page, a similar type of setup, but just with different time frames and different profit taking sizes. So Hawkeye's 0.8% in the 15-minute window, Lionheart 1.25% 30-minute. So you can start to see what I did, and once they're set up, you hit the on button, off they're running. They're going to fire off to your Binance account once those signals are spotted, achieved, and then they will do the whole shebang for you, and you just sit back and relax. So you're probably wondering now, how did I pick those assets? So I'm going to show you quickly how I did that. Like I said, I want to keep this as simple as possible, and you wouldn't believe how simple it was to find these assets and for them to perform within the trading bot environment. Now, I mentioned 2 websites that I used for finding the assets. The first one, CoinMarketCap. All I did was go to cryptocurrencies, look at the top 100 assets, and then look at their performance over the last few days, look for the momentum, and then I added them into the setup. As simple as that. Into the first section, which was the first 3 bots, was CoinMarketCap. Now the second one was just using another website called Lunar Crush, and again I was just sorting by galaxy score, finding the highest galaxy scores, finding that they could actually be traded on Binance, and then adding them in. And all I was doing was every week just going back, rebalancing according to the top performers. And the idea behind that was is that they're top performing for a reason, and if they've been sold off, then they're likely to be, bought up again. People would be looking to buy those dips, and in the time frames I'm looking at, where I wasn't really being greedy and looking for big price moves, then it made sense. So that really is the whole of the strategy. So it's a buy the dip with a bit of website information to find those assets, rebalanced weekly, compounded weekly according to the results, and that was pretty much it. That got me my 27% return over the month, and really I found the whole process really straightforward. It takes a few hours to get used to it if you've never seen this sort of environment before, but once you're into it and you get in the flow, it's so easy to set up strategy after strategy. And what I really liked about the 3 commas one was the ability to add in trading view, because that's one of the most common chart packages out there, and you can use the signals you create there to fire back signals to the 3 commas platform. So that means you can really create anything off any chart and any asset, as long as it's there on your exchange. The world's your oyster really. And again, a lot of the big market moves often happen in cryptocurrency when you're in bed, and that means you don't miss them. So it has a lot of advantages. You don't have to be running high frequency algorithmic strategies. You can run low volume strategy trade ideas as well. You don't miss them then. But I suppose another tip is, create that plan idea before you get into it. Don't just set up the strategies. Test them thoroughly. Make sure they make sense before executing them. Keep the trade size small until you're confident they're working, then build it up like I did over that month. So there you go. That was my basic setup for the cryptocurrency month's trading. Right at the start I said I normally do my own coding and create my own bots, but actually now I've seen this new growing world, I think I might be just a convert to going over to this side of things. It is really easy. It might take a few hours to get used to it if you've not seen it before, but really I can tell you, set up the exchange, the API, the 3 commas platform, really straightforward. Didn't cost that much to do and run that platform either. Love the way that, like I said before, it can integrate into TradingView. Offers you so many options that allow you to capture that 24/7 crypto market that is growing at such a fast pace and throwing up so many assets that you just physically can't, as a single human being, keep track of. And these bits of kit, this sort of software, brilliant for solving that problem. And I've looked at others, and since this March month concluded, I've actually been playing around with other crypto bot software and digging much heavily into the 3 commas, while creating some really interesting strategies around Renko charts through TradingView, all sorts of different plays that I'm hopefully going to throw back into this channel as time goes by. And also I think I'm going to put this sort of stuff more long term into my trading, so I'm going to let some of these strategies run I'm going to come back maybe towards later in the year with the results of what I've achieved from running the strategies in the 3Commas platform over that period, and show you the ins and outs and what I've learned and the mistakes and hopefully the money that I've made over that time. So really interesting. I encourage you to have a look. Don't just jump in thinking it's a golden ticket. You've got to do it properly. Go through the proper due diligence, do the proper process setup, create that trading plan, work out a reason for what you're doing. Don't risk what you can't afford to lose. Build it like a business, and you've got a nice passive income machine running behind while you do your day job, or you do other sorts of trading, other things that you want to do. It's really a great tool. And I didn't mention it's also available on your phone, app based type tool as well, so you can keep track of it as well and tinker around with it as you want from there as well. So really enjoyed the challenge. Hope you enjoyed the video and saw the potential of such software. Let me know in those comments below whether you use this type of software, 3Commas. What exchanges do you link into? Do you use other types of software? What do you recommend? Let's get that discussion going. If you want to talk in more detail about this challenge or anything else about the channel, then we run a free traders club on Discord that I'll put the link in below for you to follow. Anyone's welcome. Like I say, totally free. Come in, let's get talking. And if you've liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell buttons. And I'm actually running another challenge at the moment. That's a Binance Futures challenge. I wanted to test whether futures trading in the crypto world is safe, reliable, and you can make money from that as well. So that's currently underway, and I'm reporting back weekly on that one. And if you want to find out more about that, then here is the link for that video.